Hey, welcome to Coastal Connection. Embrace the power. Hey, I have Gus Arianto on all the way from Australia down under. Welcome to the show. Yeah. Hey, so me and my boy Mike G down here in Tampa are staying up late because it's only about 5 o'clock. But Gus, you'll have to let me know what time it is there. So Gus is in Australia and he runs a show called Leader Talk, which is one of the best shows on podcasts on the web. So if you get a chance, you need to check out Leader Talk. But no further ado, Gus. Hey, give us a little background about yourself. What do you do for a living? And what's your favorite food?
Okay, thank you. Before I start, I just want to say big thank you for Mike and General Bugs, to imagine, even just to imagine on Sunday morning today, Sunday morning at 9 a.m., to think that someone in US, especially with the credible background like yourself, to spend the time to understand my story, it's a privilege to me. So thank you so much for doing this for me. So let me start with my favorite food. I like noodles and rice. Anything with noodles and rice, I just love it. I don't know why, but I love them. I cannot live without them. Of course, I need chicken, lobster, and everything on the side. But I don't tend to say to many people. I just say, look, I'm basic. I like rice, but I don't say that I like the lobster on the side as well. So that's what I like. Look, I came to Australia in 1993 to study degree in engineering, and since then I work in different industries. Started as a mechanical engineering in one of the largest gearbox company in the world that designing Aston Martin engine. But I came from the mining division. It's called David Brown Textron. But then since then, I remember this, and you will love this. My ex-boss, this is like 2.5 decades ago, my ex-boss said to me, "Hey Gus, do you want a good news or do you want a bad news?" And I said, "Well, Tom, he's no longer here now." And I said, "Just tell me the bad news." Well, as an engineer, you are just an okay engineer. There's nothing special about you. We love you, but nothing special. And I said, so then what's the bad news? If that's the good news, what's the bad news? Well, as an engineer, you talk too much. So all the design team unable to concentrate. And I was heartbroken. But then he said, but don't be sad. Here's a car key. I think you will be a good salesman. So why don't you sell this gearbox? So I start selling this gearbox, and then that's more than 20 years ago. And then I moved to sales, and then after that I moved to business development, involved with different type of company internationally. And now I'm a CEO of the largest lighting manufacturer in Australia and New Zealand. Our company has been around for 70 years. So we are a transformative business. If you want to check it out, it's www.pierlite, pierlite.com.au. And I'm very proud of this company because we have a very high engagement score, world-class engagement score, and we build it from nothing. We literally build it from the ground up, from the people, for the people. So that's me. On the other side, as General Bug said before, I have my own passion. And my passion is to bring insights of great leaders across the world through a podcast. So I have two, one called Leader Talk, which is one of our best guests was General Bugs. And the other one is One Bowl of Rice, which is my own personal non-commercial website capturing different leaders in the essence of one bowl of rice. So thank you, Mike, to feature my website, One Bowl of Rice. Yeah. So that's my story in the nutshell, Bugs.
Oh, Gus, awesome. And I love your website. We were looking at it the last couple of days, and it's just beautiful. It's because you're a beautiful person, and naturally your website's beautiful. The thing is you are a leader, and how you shape the world. What made you come up with the concept of thinking about leadership, bowl of rice, and the lessons you've learned since you've been from an engineer to a salesperson. Along the way, there are some things I'm sure you have just evolved as a person. And so if you could give us a little insight on what has really made you evolve as the individual you are today.
Yeah. Looking back in the last 2.5 decades in my career, I remember in 1993 when I looked into myself and the type of leaders I want. And back then, because I came from Indonesia, most of the movies that I watch is a US movies. So when we talk about leaders, I picture leaders from the movies, the people with the suit, with the power, with the Rolex, with the it's a one-dimensional leaders. But then throughout my career, I start to see leaders. For example, I talked to you, Jenna Bugs. You remember 3 months ago when I start my podcast, I call you and I start questioning myself. And I said, so there is leaders on the TV and there is leaders on the real life. And what I found, a successful leaders that I found really work for the people are the leaders that can show up as basic as one bowl of rice. And I just want to give the context of this because I believe this is new, even though there's nothing new in the world. We believe that everything comes new. But because I came from Indonesia, come from Asia, rice is a common food in every home, on every table. There's no home serving a food without a bowl of rice. Now, there is nothing fancy about rice. Yet, if you take out the rice from the table, what happens is the food on the table, even when you have lobster on the table, will become stale for our community, of course. Now, that's what brings me to the concept of leadership in the one bowl of rice. Leaders that can be very impactful for the surrounding, yet leaders that don't need to be the center of the attention. Leaders that can bring the best out of people. Leaders that as basic as a grain of rice. And I start searching this. If you know how the rice, I don't know what you call it in English. Sorry, English is a second language for me. But, the rice plant. What do you call it? Like a
grain.
rice.
It's a grain, rice of
grain
grain,
of rice, right? Yeah. When it's empty without the rice, so when you actually plant the rice plant, when it's empty without the rice itself, that plant will stand straight like this. The minute it got rice, it bending down. Another leadership concept. The more you are experienced, you start to see people actually talking less because they know to get there, they need to went through a lot of experience and time. The one that's standing like this and keep talking normally have no grain of rice. And that's where the concept of one bowl of rice come through. And you know what? I start finding a lot of one bowl of rice. And one of them is you, Mr. Jenner Bugs, right? You offer your time to me. You show up. Like I keep thinking, if I'm talking to a general, it's just mind-blowing. This is for me, it's a mind-blowing. Your experience, your background, you could treat me like nothing. Not one experience that I have with you that I feel like I'm no one. And I think that's the whole thing about one bowl of rice.
That's nice. That was nice, Gustavo. That was nice. Very nice. That makes sense. I really like that a lot. The breakdown of that. It's simple but in depth.
Yes,
It's like a shallow ocean and deep lakes. Ooh.
Exactly.
Ah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it intertwines us how we treat people and how you treat yourself and what you want to do and what you want to achieve. You could be that bowl of rice in the table, but that's all it is, a bowl of rice at the table. But if you
Correct.
take the bowl and you share it and you move it around, it starts feeding everybody, as you could put it, right? In depth, feeding everybody as with knowledge and information.
Correct. And
There it
at
is.
this,
All right.
at the same time, whilst the bowl of rice bring the best out of every other food on the table, in the absence of any other food on the table, the bowl of rice is also nothing. Literally nothing. If I'm opening a restaurant and I said, we have the best bowl of rice, but we sell nothing else, no one come. And this is why I say to a lot of people, a business leaders with the greatest strategy with no people, literally useless.
Wow, you're right, Gus. And you think about, when you bring up the rice and what everything needs ingredients and everything needs flavor. And I always use this analogy is that as a leader, if people aren't engaging you or you're not allowing people to engage you, then you're not effective. And when I was a general, the one thing I hated was that I had a staff that was in the way of people being able to tell me what the problems were. So I removed my staff out of the equation, which they were like, it's going to cause you bigger problems. It actually didn't cause me bigger problems. It actually gave me the ability to solve problems before I had problems. So people would say this is going to happen. And that's what I see in you as a leader, is that I saw some pictures on the web of you talking to people at your office and talking to people at the factory, which means you're engaged. And those moments, that's where I think you grow as a leader. And I think you are spot on that, you have to share it. And Mike's spot on that you have to circulate and give that rice to everyone at the table, but you have to also make sure that you are partaking with the same thing that everybody else is. So Gus, as a leader, as a person that works around multiple different people, how do you frame yourself every day to make sure that you are being the best version of yourself?
How do I put this? General Bugs, I didn't come to this world with a lot of speciality. I came from a poor country. Throughout my childhood, I wasn't the number one in the school. To be honest, for some reason, I must be lucky. God must love me that much that even though I'm the last one, I never stuck. I seems to be able to scrap through. And because of that, the only strength I have is to be as authentic I can be. So if I don't know, I show up in that morning. I said, I do not know. If I feel like I'm unable to progress on certain tasks because my limitation, and people said, oh, but Gus, you are a CEO of a sizable business, so surely you know a lot of things. And I said, I don't know a lot of things. And you know what? A lot of people end up helping me. And to answer your question, how do I wake up? How do I show up? Is being as authentic as I can be, being as true as my weakness and my strength, because I'm surrounded by people that want to help me. For example, General Bugs, you helped me 4 months ago when I called you and I said, General Bugs, you are a general that I saw featured in CNN. We have a podcast, but we have no one. You will be some of the first one. Can you come to my podcast? And this is someone in Australia with a time difference. You have no idea who I am. And you said, no problem. I help you. The first time I talked to you over the phone, I was shaking just because, God, so people in a different continent want to help me. Now that's how I show up. I show up by showing who I am without putting a lot of salt and pepper into my body. And I said, please help me. And you know what? Everyone helped me. And literally, I never short of people helping me throughout my career.
That's it's very you're very authentic, and you always show where you're at and making a difference in other people's lives. I know I appreciate you offering me to be on your show because it was so authentic. But you know, Gus, there's so much about you that is so unique and special that you know we'd be here for days. But I'm gonna pass the mic over to Mike because Mike's got a couple questions for you.
So, Gus, question. We were talking about this pre-show. What makes a good leader at treating the employees? Like, I notice some leaders, they want to be leaders, but they're snippy at them. They lose their temper at them. I see a pattern of that. And you, as a person that owns a company, a CEO of your company, how do you pass that? Some days you have bad days, good days, but what makes a good leader to treat their employees so where they want to stay, where they want to be comfortable? Because some people go to work and they're uncomfortable, they're not happy.
Yeah. My father said to me since I was little, and he said, be kind to people, be kind. And I always said, be kind can make you successful, Dad? And he said, yes. And I tell you why. Because it's easy, but not many people doing it. Right? You don't have to go to school to do that. And I want to put a context of what kind means. I guess when you are running a business, there's a lot of commercial things surrounded what we call kind. I'm certainly not talking about kind from a religious topic, even though we will try our best to do that. But for me, leaders that show up with the greatest intent to elevate, empower others in their organization, knowing that you do everything for the well-being, performance of that person inside and outside the business, have taught me in the past 2 decades that it brings the best out of people, which in turn bring the best of the organization. So I give you little example. In my organization until today, if anyone put the hand up and they want to resign, the one thing, and by the way, there's a lot of people from my organization will watch this and they will second this. I never once hold people if they want to resign. The only thing I want that I challenge was and is they do it for their best future. Not for me, not for my organization. Organization is an organization. Your life, it's still your life. So for me, if someone resigned and said, hey guys, I'm resigning because this is the best for my family, I actually shake everyone hand that left. Never not. And I think come back to that question, Mike, what make it a good leader? It's as simple as that. Put your intent to the people, which turn the people put a lot of intent to your organization. You do not put the intent for the organization, hoping the people will focus on the organization. I scrap our vision of the company. Our company is more than 70 years old. We are the largest in our region. Mind you, we are a small country compared to US, right? But we're still the largest. Our vision used to be the largest lighting business, providing lighting anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
When I came to the business, I said to my leadership team, tell me something. If we become the largest, who get the benefit of it? The whole people or just us in the executive room? Because I tell you now, the receptionist will be busy. The forklift driver will do more work. So I don't think this is efficient for everyone. It's efficient of us sitting here in the boardroom. So this is not right. So we rework this and we change our vision with the word that is infinite. Our vision now called to empower our employees, our customer and community for them to do their best work. People come to me and say, but Gus, there's nothing about lighting in there. I said, there's nothing about lighting. It's a vision that is infinite. We, every one of us in our organization, want to empower each other. In turn, this is what happened. 3 years ago, the salespeople bring a light fitting to a hospital to sell a light. After 2 rejections, they walk away and say to me, this is very difficult. Now, they go to the hospital and say, I will never give up because I know that our light fitting will give the surgeon the best chance of doing his job because we have the best solution when they do the surgery, and I will never give up. Now, to bring that culture in the organization, you need a shift in mindset. And that's what I do every single day. And that's
wow. Wow, Gus. I mean, wow. I mean, a shift in the mindset, you know, and it's easy and it happens in America too. I mean, it is so easy for an organization to say, this is the way we've always done it. It is the benchmark, but to evolve and to grow, you definitely have to change your vision. I love how you just framed all of that as from a leader standpoint, but also from just the fact of taking care of people. The most precious resource we have, taking care of people, you know, and it evolves because it shows on your website. Mike, you can throw his website up real quick again.
Thank you.
For me. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna blow this up, man, because look at it right there, right there. Freeze that. You know, it says so much, and it's a simple picture, right? But it says so much. It's like the global network of human kindness, man. And, you know, you can, this could be a poster for the UN. This could be a poster for Hands Across Africa. It could be a poster for anything. It is just the simple thing of being able to give and take in kindness from someone else. Honestly, Gus, you did a great job with that. And I just want to say, you know, you got to keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thank you. And also, you know, it's funny, every time I open this website, I look at that photos. I never feel bored about that photos because it reminds me that leaders too have to open themselves to be carried. You know, there's a lot of leaders that said, I'm the strongest, I'm Superman. You know, not long ago, people said, if you want to be leaders, you need to be like a Superman, unbreakable. Today, I shift. I said, if you want to be a good leader, you need to allow yourself to be carried because we are all human and we can only make connection if we allow ourselves not to be the best all the time because people want to help. This is the thing. A lot of people ask me, how do you have a great team? I said, because I allow them to be great. Now, if you always the best one, they always second to you. Let them be better than you. Let them carry you. And the next thing you know, you have giants all over your organizations.
I do agree. I do agree with that. And I wish a lot of leaders do look like that, you know, to see that in an angle, because a lot of leaders, a lot of people want to be in their seat because they're better. And some people take advantage of that, but you don't. You're very humble, which is a great opportunity to meet you. A CEO, a person that is on the top but doesn't think that's on the top. He levels himself with the people, and that's great organization. That's great leadership, and a lot of people should take notes. Everybody was looking, just letting you know. No names, but I'm just saying.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Yes, it's the best. And each of us is, even when I was in the military, I had to shape the world that I live in. And I still remember people would change benchmarks because the unit I was running was doing so well. So I told my soldiers one day, they asked me, they say, why they keep changing the benchmark, sir? Every time we reach a benchmark, they change it. I said, because that's a sign of we are excelling. And you're excelling at a level that people said it couldn't happen. Because the only time there's a success, right? When people say, oh, this can't happen, this can't be successful. It can only until they see it, they don't realize it. And so often I've heard people say, well, you can't achieve this or you can't get there. Well, I disagree. You can get there if you try. And then when people get there, then people say, oh, it's like I always go back to the analogy of the man that broke the mile, it broke the 4-minute mile. And everybody goes,
Yeah.
no one will ever break the mile. No, the 4-minute mile will never be broken. But now that's been broken like 100 times, you're that mile guy. You're the one that they say, hey, he's not going to be able to break the mile. He's coming from Indonesia. He's not a rich kid. He didn't go to Harvard. He didn't go to Yale. He's just an average kind of guy. But one thing they never understood is that you had such a tenacity and a grind and a perseverance to be the best version of yourself, Gus. I just want to say you're a rock star, man. And then if you got any advice out there for young leaders that are starting at the bottom or starting in the middle, what would you tell them if they had Gus for a minute and say, Gus, if you could dump some knowledge on me, what would you say?
There's 3 things if I can share to young leaders or any leaders that just starting or anyone that wish to be a leader one day, is the acceptance that to be a leader, you need to have the capacity to limit, I'm not saying to not to limit the fact that you have how do I say it? You need to limit your belief that you know everything. That's number 1. And when I say that, even to my children, he's almost 18 now, I always say to Dylan, the power is how deep your bucket to accept new things every single day. What you know is only relevant a minute ago. Literally what you know is only relevant a minute ago. And between a minute ago and now, you're already losing. And the next 1 minute, you actually do not know anything. So young leaders, keep learning by listening, reading, and asking. That's number 1. Number 2, if you want to be a leader, fail often. Because through that, you can engage with your people. One day you will manage a lot of people. And a lot of people ask me, hey, Gus, one thing that you have that we don't see in many leaders is your ability to connect. Well, I was a toilet cleaner when I came to Australia throughout my studies. Until today, if I walk into a public toilet and there is a toilet cleaner, I always say hello. Because I know how dirty that job. Now, it's all about connecting the dots. It's all about connecting, and you only can connect the dots when you look back. You cannot connect the dots when you're doing it. When you're cleaning the toilet, there is no dot because you are in the bottom. But when I'm here now, I start to understand the importance of all my experience shaped who I am today. So young leaders, be rich in your experience. If you have the opportunity to go to Harvard, well done. And don't say that go to Harvard will not make you successful. You will be successful. If you have the opportunity to be in the army of US, do it. But if you don't have that opportunity and you come from a country where English is a second language, where you have to clean toilets, understand this. Those leaders that fortunate will never understand how to connect through the learning that you had through your pain, because whether it's good or bad, the learning are equal and leaders need to be complete. So I repeat, the second thing that I want to share is don't just learn the good stuff. Well, you need to learn how to eat steak in the 5-star restaurant because you might want to do a big deals with a bankers. But equally, when you run a business, you need to know how to deal with the forklift driver. Their challenge is different to you. So be glad if you face difficulties. And number 3, like what I said before, don't be embarrassed if you do not know a lot of things. And be tenacious in learning. When I called General Bugs 4 months ago, I don't have any expectation. For me, it's just like, what? I'm talking to number one, it's from US. Like, you have to understand, Mike and General Bugs. From Indonesia, we see everyone from US. It's like in the movies. We don't see this often. Like, that's how we brought up. Every movie, we don't see Australian movies. We certainly don't see any other movies. Every movie is from US, from the movie called Chips, if you remember, right? Yeah, MacGyver. You name every movie, like Top Gun. Every movie, it's look like that. But I put myself as I really want to know you. I really want to learn from you. And guess what, young leaders? People will teach you. You cannot go fast if you just learn from your experience, because we only live once. You learn from 20 different people with their experience, so you can actually fast forward learning from their mistake. And I tell you now, good leaders is actually will tell you not only the good one, but also the bad one. I haven't found a true good leader that just said, you know what, you need to go to this university, you need to born in the area of this, and you will be successful. I never found one. To the extent when you read the story of Steve Jobs, for example, he was adopted. He was rejected. He was sacked by his own company. He failed and failed. Like, show me a great leader, Elon Musk. Anyone, like everyone failed. And that's what the message that I say to myself every day. Hey, you want to be successful? Measure the size of your failures. So it's not about the size of your money, by the way. In my opinion, you really want to be comparing success? Let's compare how much pain you can handle and how much failures you have been through. And the minute you go up and back up, you are successful. Sorry, I get passionate about these things. Sorry.
You're fine. Hey, Gus. Hey, I just want to tell you, and me and Mike both want to tell you, thank you so much for coming on Coastal Connection. You rocked it. And hey, one bowl of rice, baby. I might pass one over to you right now. But you rocked it. And we just want to say, as we always say on Coastal Connection before we sign off, keep it rolling.